Welcome. Join the trans side of the force. We have cookies, if you would like some.
Hi there, lovely. My name is Isabel, also known as Isomorphic here on YouTube, but you can call me Isa. There's something quite strangely alluring about the power of the trans side of the Force. Something beautiful yet enigmatic at the same time.
You don't know the power of the dark side.
What am I talking about when I'm talking about the trans side of the Force? Basically, in my experience of coming out as trans, I saw something weird happen across my online social circle, and that was an odd influx of the number of people approaching me, basically telling me, you questioning your gender and coming out basically is making me question mine. And that, I think, is really interesting. What is this strange correlation between knowing a trans person and being really close with them and then questioning your own gender yourself?
The dark side of the Force is a pathway to many abilities some consider to be unnatural.
I think it's because when you are close with a trans person, you often talk about the concept of gender, and especially when you know them before they come out and then they come out, of course questions arise as to how and why this is happening now as opposed to before. So jokingly, I think of it as like the allure, the dark allure of the trans side of the Force. Basically, it makes people gravitate towards being trans themselves once they are exposed to its power, right? But in reality, it's not really like that. Like, it's not like, oh no, your trans friends are gonna turn you trans. No, that's not what I'm trying to say. It's more like having exposure to trans people and kind of the way they think about their own gender kind of changes your worldview in a way. It sure did change my worldview when my sibling came out as trans, because it basically required me to kind of go through this whole process of accepting trans people in general. It's something that in principle I agreed with, but in practice, it's such a big difference between agreeing in principle with tolerance and acceptance and actually practicing it in day-to-day life. Basically, it caused me to kind of go into my own mini crisis after they came out, basically being like, oh God, could that apply to me? But of course, me being younger me at the time, I avoided this hard question and basically suppressed it for 2 or 3 years. So, healthy coping mechanisms. That's kind of my thoughts on like sort of this strange gravitation that trans people have with other trans people, right? But also in the intro of this video, I mentioned that there's a component of beauty to the trans side of the Force. And I think that's pretty true to say. Historically speaking, back in the late 50s and early 60s, there was a lot of admiration and respect for trans people. There would be drag ball events in urban Chicago and other big cities where straight people would basically watch drag queens and drag kings be themselves, be their beautiful selves, and they would applaud them. And it's like, what changed, right? How did being trans all of a sudden go from this beautiful, remarkable, yet slightly odd phenomena to something to be ashamed of, to being taboo in our society? And I don't have an answer to that question, but I do know that I still think that there's a lot of beauty in the trans community in general that people really don't recognize and talk about when they're talking about trans people. There was this online art exhibit that I saw that was basically an online gallery version of an exhibit being held in the mayor's office of Madison, Wisconsin, where I live. And these paintings were basically just colorful, very beautiful chromatic portraits of trans people painted by someone who is trans himself. But I think these paintings really speak something deeply true about the beauty of trans people in general, whether you're a woman or a man or anything in between. Trans people are beautiful. So I think that's why we tend to inspire others to kind of look inside themselves. Now, before I leave you guys for the day, I wanted to just say, may the force be with you. Thank you for watching. Comment down below what you thought of my weird Star Wars analogy. But yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.